Okay, I'm going to do things a bit differently this time. I'm adding the wheel of names into the mix. So, for the narrator, we have... Oh boy, it's me. Okay.
Yes. I'm so illiterate.
The rain is coming down in sheets. It rains just seldom enough in this idyllic world that most of its inhabitants are conditioned to leave their homes without umbrellas, and today they're paying for it. The press clamours at the edge of the funeral procession, getting soaked to the bone and/or exoskeleton. John ducks his head away from the flash of cameras, still uncomfortable with his position among the pallbearers. He didn't know Dirk that well, but he couldn't refuse a direct request from a grieving bro. He ventures a glance at Dave, who is at the front of the line carrying a smaller casket containing Dirk's decapitated head. The actual casket was
What are you
unusually
reading?
heavy, not just because Jane insisted on having it crafted from the finest quality timber on the planet, but also because, for some unfathomable reason, Dirk is going to be buried with every single one of his shitty anime swords. It would be absurd if it were not so tragic and possibly also predictable. Gamzee fumbles with his corner of the casket when it comes time to set it down in the cathedral, upsets the balance of the whole thing, and sends it careening down so hard that the nose of it crashes right through the stage. Okay. Gamzee
John and
is...
Roxy.
Oh, jocularDweeb is doing Gamzee.
Nice.
Up to my side.
John is jocularDweeb again. Oh no.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Sexy. I hope I don't get
And
Roxy.
Roxy. Oh no, it's you again. Oh boy. So, let me just write this all down.
Oh
Narrator.
god. Isn't that like half the roles though?
Yeah, like there's Dave, there's Carcat, and
Okay.
there's Jake.
Alright, whenever you're ready.
Alright. Whoops, motherfuckers. Whoops! It's fine, Yams. Accidents happen.
John presses his mouth in a flat line. He looks at Dirk's casket sitting diagonally in a hole in the floor and pops about 13% of the way open. A few shitty swords seem to have made a valiant effort to escape, but didn't quite make it all the way. He looks at Dave, who appears even more stoic than usual, with his wet hair plastered to his forehead. He looks at Roxy, who is staring at the floor, rather beside herself in grief. Then he finally looks at Gamzee, who offers two dubiously sympathetic whoops in response. Today is not the day to push it, he thinks to himself. He forces a smile, kisses Roxy on the cheek, and goes to take a seat in the front row of the pews. At the back of the nave, devastated fans of Rumble in the Pumpkin Patch are trying to force their way inside, past the barrier of reporters. Jane drags Jake off by the wrist to deal with him as Roxy approaches the pulpit, looking miserably ghost-like in her violet mourning clothes.
Hey, thanks everyone for joining me today.
She folds her hands in front of her. Her earrings light up as the reporters at the back take about 6 million pictures of her tear-stained face. She sniffs, then hocks back a whole mouthful of snot. The sound is very much in contrast with the delicate, feminine manner with which she tugs tissue out of her modest cleavage in order to dab at her eyes.
Wow, now that I'm up here, it's like, I don't know. I have no idea what to say.
Of course she doesn't. Dirk was her first BFF, her first love, and, at one time, the only other human being left on Earth. She rolls the wet tissue between her fingers.
And I guess that's because he is nothing to say. There's no words to describe how I feel about Dirk Strider. And even though he left a note that had hella words in it, they might as well have been saying nothing. Which is just like Dirk, I guess, to leave us with a load of bullshit and no idea why he did what he did. So I'm just gonna say that I'm glad that he was in my life and give it to someone who was more eloquent than me.
Dave
Oopsie.
gets to his feet, unwinding his fingers from Jade's. He walks to the pulpit with his usual smoothness, but pauses beneath the giant stained glass window to run the heel of his palm under his shades. The camera bulbs start clacking away like crazy. John whirls around in his seat to glare at the reporters, putting a finger to his mouth to shush them. He watches a tiny, white carapace chess guy sheepishly press the flash button on his camera as quietly as possible. It takes Dave a moment to gather himself when he reaches the lectern. When he speaks, his voice is steady and even. Okay.
If it goes on me, just roll again, because like.
Oh, it's me.
Alright, good.
Just
Good.
Okay. Alright. Hey
We're
guys,
fine.
want to apologise in advance because this is about to get a little real. Really than that 3/4 of the courts I'm standing about 2 feet from right now. I mean, I totally hate to ruin everyone's mood in the day where we're gathered to think deep thoughts about how one of us just went and fucking off themselves. Not like we're going to be stumbling through our lives constantly experiencing intrusive thoughts about this specific event or anything. Hey, remember what our good pal Dirk looked like with no head? Pretty hard to forget since getting decapitated was like his third favourite hobby. So it's not so much the body that's the problem, but the sort of existential realisation of finality, I guess. Though I ain't gonna lie, the body's starting to stink. Sorry, all that shit I just said was a load of absolute bull meant to deflect from the fact that I'm pretty shook about this. I used to do that a lot, like basically every time I open my mouth. Most of you know this, but I had a kind of a shitty childhood. Not gonna go into details, but long story short, it was technically my good old bro dad here's fault. Not this specific version of him. The one I grew up with him was that he was Dave hesitates. His voice might be cracking, but it's subtle. He was just an okay bastard. No offense. He was just an absolute bastard. No offense to the dead. Yeah, okay, sure. He taught me a ton of shit that if we're being generous, was in theory useful. But he didn't give a single solitary shit about raising a well-adjusted kid or raising a kid in general. I was more like his disciple, and all that mattered was his grand design or what the fuck ever. And I know Dirk struggled with, the idea that he could eventually become that kind of person. Or even worse, he was somehow cosmically fated to become that person, no matter what he wanted or did to prevent it. That's probably how he managed to off himself in the first place, considering the mechanics of God tier works. Maybe he'd be struggling with that the whole time we've been here on Earth C. Who knows of him? He was always so inside his own head. I can't even imagine what insane train of thought led him to decide that this was his only option. But I don't think he'd want us beating ourselves up about it, or torturing ourselves trying to figure out what it fucking meant. Especially Jane, Jake, and Roxy. He loved you guys and wouldn't do anything to hurt you. Well, not intentionally, I mean. Anyway, all that shit about my bro, I'm over that, like as much as you can get over it. There's a subconscious response to certain stimuli you can't exactly rewire, but the conscious part of my brain is like, shit dude, I feel great. What the fuck is hypervigilance? I love being alive and having all these friends who care about me and don't beat the shit out of me every day of my life, etc. And past that, because I got to be friends with Dirk. It was great getting to know this rad version of my childhood guardian who wasn't completely batshit insane, and like just chill with him, shoot the shit and freestyle or debate dumb crap without it being a federal fucking issue. And more than that, he treats me like I was in level with him. He let me give him shit for being a pretentious blowhard every day of his life, which I did. But despite that, I looked up to him. The way I always felt like I should have been looking up to my bro. The way I wanted to look up to my bro but couldn't. Dirk taught me so much shit I didn't know I needed from him. I mean, picking up Dirk's opinions was unavoidable if you ever hung out with him, considering he never shut his fucking mouth. But I'm glad he didn't. He taught me about combat, philosophy, life, and I'm sure had he not killed himself the literal day I was finally going to ask him romantic advice, he would have taught me about love too. So, in the end, I really got no idea how the fuck I'm supposed to feel right now. But that's probably okay, right? Like, it's okay to not know how to feel when someone dies. It's okay to not have all the answers. I wish Dirk was still alive so I could tell him that, but he's not, so... Dave takes a deep, shuddering breath and actually takes off his shades to wipe away the tears that are falling on his eyelashes. I guess that's all I got to say about that. Jake is openly weeping by the time his speech is over, his face buried in Jane's breast. She is remarkably composed, looking more irritating than anything that a gentleman companion is getting snot all over her attractively tailored power suit. Dave leaves the stage, face turned away from the glare of the camera lights, and Roxy takes the place of the pulpit once again.
Anyone else have an eulogy they'd like to give? I think the best way we can honor Dirk's memory at this point is to spew an untold number of words into the void. As many as we fucking can.
Rose, who had been staring off into space with a peculiar expression on her face during Dave's speech, snapped to attention. She brushes Kanaya's hand off her lap and goes to stand, but is interrupted by the horrible squelching sound of Gamzee lumbering to his feet in his wet, oversized boots. He saunters up to the pulpit with the precise, lazy gait of one who's grown far too comfortable with a lifelong tendency of unwittingly inspiring others with contempt, and braces his arms on either side of the lectern. If inside his church there were an adjacent room of wet dogs eating garbage, everyone in attendance would run to that room immediately to escape the stench emanating from the smiling clown. Suddenly, his expression distorts to become something which can only be described as a leer.
Okay, roll for Carcat, maybe?
Please be me, please
Oh,
be me.
yep, it's you.
Yeah, sexy.
Finally.
Yep.
Go ahead.
What's up on this most righteous and frowny of days, my bitches?
Oh my god. I want to hear anything you have to say, Gamzee.
You still got it, brother. My motherfucker of comedy is a prey block. That mirthful noise your holder still slap.
It's not a fucking joke.
Gamzee clears his throat quite loudly and abruptly, sending ear-shattering echoes through the church. It sounds like someone just threw a toilet in a wood chipper.
Actually do it.
You good?
Yep, I actually did it. What Gamzee do? Ninjas and gentle hoes, we gather up at this shrine of worship to whatever false idiots or messiahs these homies that get their devotion on for. But that's okay, because we're motherfucking unified today. No matter what our bad and different beliefs say that us to our piety pants. We come in celebration of the life and death of the one and only truly choice piece of man, bitch, whom I hardly even knew. The Dirkster.
Boo.
Shut up. Then you might be up and wondering, what place have I got to all on the subject of the legend of this fine fellow? That a good question, my mirthful brothers. I may not be all up in learn. I may not learned. I hate his work as well. I may not be all up and learned about his life, but I've got deep spiritual connections to his death. It just so happens that fate brought me to his doorstep on the very day that he went and motherfucking choked it off at the neck. One of the most spiritually awakening moments in my life. In such a short time, he taught me so much. This was no coincidence. It was a higher power guiding my path. These powers made sure that I would be there to receive a great warrior's final message and relay it to you on this dark and dearly day of death. Honk!
The clown thrusts his hand somewhere between the waistband of his pants and starts obscenely rooting around. He retrieves a piece of paper crumpled and soaked with the rain outside and attempts to smooth it out over the lectern. The wet paper breaks apart immediately beneath his oafish clown paws.
Shiz, I guess I've got up and wing it.
Dirk's close friends in the audience look on with anxious anticipation, eager to hear whatever important message Dirk had apparently handed down to Gamzee to be passed on. John can't seem to find that optimism himself. Gamzee draws a big fat breath and begins his speech.
You ever wake up and sit down to drop a fat one?
Go.
Oh.
You ever wake up and sit down to drop a fat one in a low caper, but your flesh body just ain't ready to go and took it out yet?
The clown's words hang heavily in the air. He scans the crowd, silent for an uncomfortable while,
You want
as
me
if
to
his
read
question
it?
weren't rhetorical and he were
okay.
expecting an answer that would never come.
That's what life was like for the D-Man. A man more with a purpose, a plan, but the wicked ways of this world stole that away from him.
It goes on like this for some time. Members of the audience ride out the clown's eulogy with an admirable sense of grit and determination, though visibly reacting with full body spasms every time the preacher issues another punctuating honk or deeply inappropriate turn of phrase. Kargak continues heckling all throughout, and at one point delivers no less than 30 uninterrupted instances of the phrase, "fuck you." Throughout most of the eulogy, Roxy continues attempting to urge others to settle down and give him a chance, based on the many endorsements she'd heard of his spiritual oration skills. But even she gives up on this effort when one especially boisterous honk results in Gamzee knocking over the lectern entirely, which he does not bother to pick up. Instead, he proceeds with his eulogy as if nothing happened, while openly scratching an itch beneath his codpiece. At this point, Dave has had enough and exits the church. Karkat follows him. Gamzee inhales deeply, preparing to launch into what quite possibly will be the full body of his speech, rather than one or two mercifully concluding remarks. Roxy stands up and begins clapping loudly to bring in a heroic end to the
Locutionary.
elocutionary horror show.
Wow,
There we
wasn't
go.
that great, folks? Wow, just wow. I knew this guy would let us down. Bravo. Damn, I feel like I never heard another word this guy ever said that. He'd be fine because that's all just so anything more would only dampen this perfect memory he gave us. And take a bow, Gamzee, and then oh yeah, the exit's that way.
She nudges Jake. Oh
Hey,
boy,
dude,
time for
can you
Jake.
get out there and say something like,
Oh, it's me, yay.
hey, dude, can you get up there and say something that's like, palate cleanser?
Hang on. Gulp.
It was your best, bro. Come on, man. Surely you got something in your heart to say.
Oh, okay.
Everybody, it's Jake's turn. He got a few words he'd like to say about our departed. Oh, for fuck's sake.
John mutters a few imprecations under his breath and gets up before Jake can take the stage. He's concerned about Dave and heads for the exit, leaving Gamzee there easily. Gamzee's strolling so leisurely, in fact, he's barely made us off the stage yet. John pushes out into the churchyard. The rain has receded into a light drizzle, which is nice. Much less like being trapped in the high-pressure shower and more like being sprayed with a plant mister. He looks around the largely decorative graveyard and spots Dave and Karkat huddled together beneath an eave of the churchyard walls. John begins to move towards them, but stops when he notices how close together they're standing. Dave got his suit jacket unbuttoned and pulled over Karkat's head to shield him from the rain. Karkat's the one talking, his caterpillar eyebrows furrowed, but his gaze soft. Whatever he's saying makes Dave turn his face away, but Karkat winds a hand in his shirt and tugs him in, forces him to make eye contact. They both go still, seeming to finally realise how close their faces have gotten, how Karkat's fingers are brushing down the length of Dave's torso. Dave dips down so their noses are bumping. Karkat's eyes are so wide it's amazing they don't pop out. For a moment it looks like they're going to... John sneezes. Dave and Karkat jump apart like opposing magnets. Oops.
Hi, guys.
John waves dopely and hopes he doesn't look buffoonish and mortified as he feels. Dave and Karkat are still staring at each other from the corners of their eyes, warily. Something silent and tense passes between them. They make a quick recovery. Hey.
I see that even you couldn't bear Gamzee's asinine, brutal, and 100% non-consensual assault on your listening creators, and also the basic decency which sapient beings apparently owe to one another on this planet.
No, I listened to the entire thing. I have no idea why I did that. Now I have this whole memory in my head that I could have definitely live without. I was just worried because you didn't come back. Dave, are you okay?
Dave glances at Karkat again. He smiles. It's a sad smile, but it's there. Yeah, well, no, but it's okay to not be okay about this specific thing, I think. So for once, I think I'm having like a totally ironically normal emotional reaction to a thing which loops around back to being okay. In fact, I'm probably the okayest I've ever been, objectively.
Are you sure?
That was half 100 words to express a 3-letter sentiment. I'd say he's doing fine. Jamie.
Oh, what? I thought you were doing, John. Oh,
I did.
Yeah.
oh okay. I didn't. For some reason, I didn't hear it. Anyway, John chews the inside of his mouth and blinks down at his hands. Now that he's paused to think a little, what he's about to offer is a pretty weird way to console a friend after the death of a loved one.
Do you want me to go back?
Dave quirks an eyebrow. Go back?
With my retcon powers, I could go back and stop him.
Dude. Dave says that at the same time that Karkat shouts.
John!
What?
Do you not have an inch of goddamn sense in that thick fucking skull of yours?
What?
John, come on, what are my powers?
Time travel?
So you don't think I would have already done that if I thought it was a good idea?
Well, okay, yeah, obviously. But if you did do it, he wouldn't even know right now because it would have just made a new timeline where Dirk didn't kill himself. That's how time travel works, right?
Well, actually, Dave makes a wavy hand gesture that implies he's about to jump into a rant about causality or whatever. John cuts him off.
I retcon it, then it's like it never even happened. It wouldn't have had this horrible funeral at all.
I don't know, dude. That's a little fucked up, actually.
You think so?
Yeah, Dirk was a complicated guy. Dude obviously had reasons for doing what he did. If you go back and just rewrite his decision, that's like denying him his personal autonomy.
I didn't think about it that way.
John frowns. Dave opens his mouth to say something else, but he's cut off by Jade poking her head out of the church window. Okay, Jade's
Oh.
time.
Date time.
And it's Pine.
Oh.
Steve, Roxy's wondering where you are.
Hang on a sec. Oh yeah, be right there.
What about you, Carcat? You coming? Yes, God, can't a man stand on a moist and dreary piece of religious property to help console his main bro? Jesus fuck, God forbid we upset this carefully orchestrated funeral program, which just featured a segment wherein a deeply unpopular clown pissed himself in front of the clamoring paparazzi. Oh Lord, you dumb baby. Carcat looks to me like you're the one third-wheeling Dave and John's poignant bro times. So why don't you get your butt on over here? Ah, fine.
Karkat stomps back towards the church, bickering with Jade his way across the graveyard. Dave adjusts Jade and puts a hand on John's shoulder. John, I get what you're trying to do, but it's okay, dude. I'm okay. John nods, swallowing hard. His throat is dry all of a sudden. Dave turns and walks back into the church. Once John is absolutely sure Dave is gone, he closes his eyes, breathes in deep through his nose, and raises both his hands. Nothing happens. John cracks one eye open. It's been a while since he tried to do, well, anything more complicated than going out for dinner, to be honest. Has he just forgotten how to invoke his game powers? Do the windy thing, he thinks to himself. A brisk breeze howls through the graveyard, rustling some leaves off a nearby tree. Nope, that's all good. Do the retcon thing? He thinks much harder than he thought about doing the last thing. Still nothing.
That's weird. It was working just the other day.
He stares at his hands so hard that his head starts to hurt, so hard that he doesn't hear the footsteps sloshing through the wet grass behind him. When Roxy taps him on the shoulder, he yelps and shoots 6 feet up into the air.
Oh, John, it's just me.
John spins around to greet her. He hides his hands behind his back like he was doing something bad for them, which she guesses he was, kind of. Roxy shields her eyes against the rain and laughs.
Doing okay up there, B?
I can't hear
Oh,
you.
shit. I'm fine. Wait, B?
John lands softly close enough to Roxy that he can slide. She can slide a hand under. John lands softly close enough to Roxy that she can slide a hand up his arm.
Yeah, like sort of for babe, cause you're my baby. Oh, right.
John feels himself flush and runs an awkward hand through his hair. He's still a little embarrassed to show affection in public places like this. He slips a hand into the small of Roxy's back and feels a pang of guilt about what he saw transpire between Dave and Karkat earlier.
Is Dave okay? Yeah, I guess. Are you okay? Yeah.
Her gaze gets distant as she stares at something over John's shoulder. Whatever she's thinking about, it tugs a soft smile across her face.
Yeah, actually, I'm more than okay. Cause I've been thinking. Oh?
Roxy starts dancing her fingers up John's chest.
How about you and me and this?
She pops him on the nose.
Hey, John, we should get hitched.
John stares at where Roxy's finger is still pressing down on his nose and goes a little cross-eyed as his brain tries to process what she just said.
What? What? John, come on, marry me! Like...
John looks around the graveyard nervously.
Like, right now? Lamau totes! We're already at the church and everything. Oh my god. John? Oh my god, are you serious?
Roxy starts laughing so hard she has to wipe away a tear. She leans in to give John a quick, chaste kiss on the lips.
Lol. John, you take everything so literally. It's fucking adorbs. Is that why you want to marry me? Yeah. I'm off the charts with all my jokes and shit. I got even all that out, which is like huge helping from clueless nerd. Roxy. Okay, but let's be serious here a moment. I actually do love that you're so earnest. Earnest, sorry. It's cute as fucking, and also, I always know where I stand with you. Roxy. Besides this whole thing with Dirk, it's made me realize that even though we're immortal, we're not necessarily gonna live forever. Life's too short not to spend every moment with the one you love.
That word hits John like a sucker punch to the gut. He goes breathless with shock, adrenaline pumping through him, his blood rushing in his ears. When he speaks, his voice is hoarse.
You love me? Yeah, John, I love you. I want to marry you and spend the rest of my life with you and two babies with you. Oh, wow, Roxy, that's a lot. You don't gotta answer right now. Just know it's on the table.
He doesn't know what to think. He so doesn't know what to think. He's firing inside his head, shaking all over, damp with sweat. Something about this doesn't feel right. Just a few weeks ago, Roxy was happy with Calliope, and now she wants him to have his babies. John feels like he's missing something important here, like he went for a bathroom break during the part of the movie where the plot twist happens. He should give Roxy some time, get himself some space. It's all happening so fast that it's suffocating. On the other hand, isn't that how love's supposed to feel? Like a quick plunge into cold water, a feeling that grows unexamined, and then gets so big that the realization washes over you like a wave. Roxy's unbearably beautiful with moisture clinging to her eyelashes, and a smile that she's only smiling because of how much she liked him. She likes him so much that she wants to be around him every single day. John's stomach feels like it's doing pirouettes. His hands come up around Roxy's shoulders and keep going until he's cupping her face in both hands. He starts giggling.
Okay, let's do it.
Roxy waggles her eyebrows.
Ooh, you wanna do it? Yeah, yeah, that too. But I meant about the getting married thing. Let's do that. Let's totally get married.
Roxy practically attacks John's mouth, she's so excited. John shuts his eyes and kisses her back, still giddy and laughing against her lips. She kisses him until they're both breathless and pulls back so that she can gaze at him with glittering eyes.
Oh, you're gonna be so freaking happy.